Welcome to Hart, where we talk about games, movies, and video games, young and old. And today we're talking about 2026 Sam Raimi's new horror, well, not exactly new horror movie, Send Help, which I've finally seen. I've tried to watch this movie multiple times on streaming, and it just has not worked for me. Finally, I got to watch it the other night with my friend, and I have mixed feelings, but I definitely am more in the good camp than bad camp. I could give it like a 6.5, maybe even a 7, potentially a 7. Normally, I don't like to give a rating like right off the bat like that, or really even at all, but I think that'll give you a pretty good idea of my enjoyment of the movie. I liked it. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. There were definitely some things that pissed me off, but I think there was a lot of good there. I had a conversation with my friend about it who fucking hated the movie, so that was interesting. But Send Help is a movie starring Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien. Is that it? Send Help. Yeah, so Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien. I actually got that right. And is directed and co-produced by Sam Raimi. Now, I like a lot of Sam Raimi movies, and the story goes that, I guess in Multiverse of Madness, he worked with Rachel McAdams, and he really liked her so much that he wanted to work with her on his next project, or a project in the future, and this was that project. Now, I like the whole concept of this movie, because it is one of those movies where if you were to reverse the roles, things would be very different. And I liked the perspective of a guy and a girl being stranded on a desert island, and the guy being extremely useless and the girl being the one to do literally everything. But where the extra dynamic is that in the business room at their work, he was like the new boss basically because of his dad, and she was an extremely hard worker. She was being snubbed for a promotion. She was very upset about that. And then their plane crashes and she ends up being the one who saves them, essentially. Like, without her, our main character, like Dylan O'Brien's character, would 100% be dead. So you see it all kind of from that perspective, if that makes sense, where these two are stranded on a desert island, or a tropical island, a deserted island. They're on an island. They're stranded on an island. There's really no way for me to go around this without doing some spoilers. So there's going to be spoilers sprinkled around. So if that interests you at all, like what I just said, then just go watch the movie, because the rest of what I'm going to be talking about, I guess, is going to be spoiler territory, but I just want to talk about more specific things in the actual movie that I liked and disliked. And we'll go with disliked first. Not really a spoiler, but there are a lot of fade to blacks where it just, fades to a black screen, and it will, like, something will happen and it will fade to a black screen, and you'll go, why didn't you just show me what just happened? Now we're kind of wondering what happened in that scenario. And later on, it will go back to that scene where it faded to black, and it will show you the rest of what happened. Even though you already kind of know what happened, it just confirms it. I don't think that is good. That kind of did bother me a lot. This fading to black alone just really bothered me, because it was like, just show me more. Why aren't you showing me the thing that you're heavily insinuating, and then you're making weird assumptions about it in the next scene, and then you confirm the thing, and it's supposed to be like a major twist, but it actually isn't, because we already knew it, but you just didn't show it to us. This was something that my buddy pointed out to me. Shout out my boy Will, just in case you're watching this and you're like, that son of a bitch is stealing what I'm saying. He pointed that out, and I just completely agree. That was it's a huge It's a misdirection, but an incredibly misuse of a misdirection, if that makes sense. Because you think it's going to point you in a different direction, but it's actually pointing you exactly where you think you're going. Now, this continues with a lot of my other complaints about the movie. Extremely predictable. There's a part where I don't remember any of the character names. Rachel McAdams' character is like, hey, don't go over to this side of the island because it's full of poison ivy and rough terrain. And right away, I'm like, that's actually probably either safety, or like something over there will allow our Dylan character to get off the island. I know that that's going to come back later. And she brings up, oh, these fruits or whatever the fuck, these tomatoes are poisonous, so watch out for those. And you're like, he's probably going to try to poison her at some point. I guess a part that I'm leaving out, which I should probably add in, is one of the big plot points, maybe not plot point, one of the major details of this movie is that our main character, Linda Little, is obsessed with Survivor. She loves Survivor and she wants to be on Survivor. She's like, she's had an audition tape for Survivor. Like, she wants to be on the show. She's obsessed with the show. So when she gets stranded on this desert island, she kind of is living her best life and she is really enjoying it. And you kind of get the idea that, yeah, she's kind of like living her ultimate fantasy right now. She kind of has a crush on the boss that she's crashed or landed with. She's taking care of him. She's like building, you know, this like home for them there basically. But he is just not budging. Like, he is just trying to leave the entire time. He is just not having it. And he is a piece of shit through and through. I want to make that clear. That guy's a piece of shit. And one of the big things with the movie, to continue with this rant, when they're in the office, he makes this insinuation to this woman like, well, what are you willing to go above and beyond for me? Making it like a sexual thing, you know what I mean? And she, on the island, he basically tries to go out on his own, is very unsuccessful, goes back to her and is like, please let me back into the campsite here. And she's like, well, are you willing to go above and beyond for me? Like, throwing the line back at him. And he realizes, oh, well, this is a sexual thing. And he goes to take his pants off and she's like, no, 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 I'm fucking kidding. I'm fucking with you. Like, I am not like that. I'm not like you. And that is true through the whole movie. That is extremely true. But I do think there were parts, there's this whole section at the end I'm so conflicted with, and I don't want to say it. I just think that the whole ending section is very conflicting. You're either going to really love it or you're really going to hate it. I think in ways it kind of discredits a lot of the journey that Linda has been on. You still, I think, are satisfied. Like, I was satisfied. It's an untraditional like story of who, you know, the protagonist and antagonist are, who your hero and who your villain are. It's a little bit flip-floppy, let's say. So I think the ending is still satisfying. It's just the way they reveal information throughout the movie is really weird. Like, when they tease the information and then they come back around to the information, it doesn't hit as well as it should. I don't even know what else I can say. I feel like that was a pretty good rounding out of the movie. Sounds like I didn't like it a lot, but I did. It's just that the parts I liked about it were mostly that it's like a different perspective of two people being stranded on an island. And I do think a couple of the twists were interesting, though they do still fall under that whole thing that I just said of how they reveal information to you. So there's that. So yeah, I don't want to get too much more into it, I guess, even though I think that was a pretty good explanation. I feel like you're either going to love it or you're going to hate. Well, I'm a little bit in the middle, so I shouldn't say you're either going to love it or you're going to hate it. But, oh, also, it was also kind of funny. So, because I think it's a horror comedy. Survival horror thriller. I swear it was a comedy. Oh, it does say horror comedy. And it's definitely kind of funny. I guess I just think that it could have been better, but I also liked it. So a 6 is probably good. IMDb. A 6 is probably good. Letterboxd, 3 stars, 3.5 stars, something like that. Yeah, so I have a lot more videos where that came from. I just did a Trigun Stampede and Trigun Stargaze review. That's my newest video. I guess that's what I have to say about that. I definitely will have more reviews coming out. I also have a Pokemon Nuzlocke randomizer video coming out. I got a lot of things on the go, but there's a lot of things here left unwatched. So please check something out. And a like and subscribe always helps. I promise you. It helps a lot. Trust me. So until next time, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Peace.